What's up, everybody? Welcome. It's Orange Bloods Live. I'm Jeff Ketchum. That is Chad Hastings, and glad to be with you as we get a little bit closer to Texas v. Arkansas, a little bit closer to Texas v. Texas A&M. Single-digit days away, guys. So, we are chugga down to the conclusion of the regular season in college football. Do us a solid, hit that thumbs up button, subscribe to the page, jump into the Specs chat, or if you're watching this in the non-live variety, jump in and drop us some comments. We got all kinds of stuff that we'll be discussing today. Steve Sarkisian, Chad, just finished his one of the more interesting. He finishes his Thursday, his final press briefing of the week before the games on Saturday, and couple of thoughts, before we get into the guts of it all. Sark really usually does do a good job of, if he has a bad performance, he usually picks it. I didn't think about it until the end of today when I was done. I thought Sark was really good today on the conference call in a way that on Monday we thought Sark could have handled some of that stuff better. Go back to earlier in the season. Remember when, I guess it was after, I don't even remember what game it was, where sounded like he threw some guys under the bus. It was like, oh, maybe it even was the Florida game. And I was like, oh man, just right. Own it and don't put that appearance out there. And then what's he do on Monday? He shows up on Monday and it was like, hey, drive the bus over me. Let's make this about me. And it was like, yeah, Sark, yeah, you got it. And so I thought today was one of those. I thought on Monday you were like, oh, Sark, don't be defensive about penalties and stuff like that. And I thought today there was just a looser, less, I think, offended Sark. And look, man, maybe the dude just had a case of the Mondays, right?
Yeah.
He lost on Saturday. He traveled.
Yeah.
It was Monday morning. He just didn't want to fucking deal with anybody. If that's the case, sometimes it's like when you're married, Chad. Sometimes you just got to tell your significant other, first thing in the morning, hey, I'm going to be a dick for a while probably today. So, just know that. I don't mean anything by it, but I can feel it in my bones that I'm not going to be a happy person.
Yeah. Plus, we have to realize, even though it wasn't discussed on Monday, let's assume that Steve Sarkisian had no idea Desmond Howard was going to do what he was going to do, but he knew he did it at the moment that he sits down. Maybe he was a little saucy. Maybe that's just boiling in his head, and it helped to process everything that came out of his mouth.
No doubt. Now, what did he specifically say today? I mean, look, we've got Brian Jones in 30 minutes, so we could do the entire show off of, I think, a litany of comments that he makes today, both about the game. Anthony Hill hasn't really been, for instance, since we've done injury reports this week, real quickly, Anthony Hill hasn't really fully participated in practice.
Coin flip, 50%, questionable.
I don't think it's 50% because I just don't.
Yeah.
But that he's officially listed, we talked about this yesterday, questionable on the depth chart today, this week, given that he's not expected to play, does make me more optimistic than I think an immediate out or doubtful would have made me feel. So fingers crossed, and he said it, we're playing this kind of day by day, and we'll just address it literally day by day. That's the kind of thing they sometimes say with concussions, Chad. So it's like,
oh, yeah, and we're talking about this kind of position and that type of injury. He's not a quarterback with a throwing hand and, hey, can he throw a 12-yard out? That's not what they need to see Anthony Hill do. He needs
we've seen guys play with clubs.
Right. He needs to hit a bit of a different level here. But, yeah, he's on the destroy side, and it is a little easier to destroy with something like that going on than it is to try to create on offense, especially if you're a skill guy.
We'll see.
Yeah.
As it relates specifically to what I think today's press conference will be remembered for, he did the thing that he didn't do yesterday on the SEC conference call, and that was specifically reference Desmond Howard. Now, he did not say Desmond Howard by name.
Oh, no. Of course. Did he say that guy up north? That was my idea.
It was a little more it was a little more specific than that.
Okay.
Sarkisian so It's interesting because one of the first questions of the press gathering today was, and this is all done on Zoom, guys, just so that you know.
Yeah.
The Monday press conference and after games in person, the Thursday last one before the games, always on Zoom. And it's been that way for as far as I can remember for a long time. They used to do it in person, but not now.
Since COVID, right? It was the
probably,
COVID.
Yeah, maybe
coming
that's
out of COVID. I think they just decided to leave it that way.
Maybe that's how I'm trying to even remember. You're probably right though. Like at some point it was like, we don't actually have to see you guys.
Right. Well, it's just an extension of the Wednesday deal. It's like, wait a minute, we do the SEC or back then it was Big 12. We do a conference call. Let's just do the same thing, right? It's better for everybody.
It makes total sense. And anyway, so Danny Davis from the Austin American Statesman had asked a question related to what his comments from yesterday. And Sark was pretty short with Danny Davis. And then there were some other follow-up questions, but it started off early on. The very first time someone had made mention of yesterday's comments on the SEC media call, it sounded like, man, Sark's still a little touchy about this. And then over the course of the call, less and less touchy about it in a way that I think by the end of the call, because one of the things he did was like, hey, Danny, and I thought this was curious when it happened. He's like, hey, Danny, if you want to raise your hand again and ask me another question, like this was like straight out of the movies.
Oh, right.
You know, the old, hey, did you ever see Notting Hill?
Yes.
When at the end, Hugh Grant walks up and she's like,
do you have another question?
Have the hounds and what was it? The horses and hounds?
Something like that. Yeah.
He's like, have him ask another question. And then the question is, you know, will you still be leaving London? I'm staying here indefinitely. Right. So when Danny Davis at the end says, hey, what was yesterday? And it was a really good question. What was yesterday about? Who was it for? Was it for us, the media? Was it for recruits? Was it for your team? Who was it for?
That is a great question.
And it is, because you and I have even talked about, had he channeled his inner Mac Brown and at the end of it, we just went, he's talking to moms.
Right. Not talking to us. Yeah.
We would have been like, okay, well, we didn't like it, but we weren't his core audience.
Yep.
And Sark, self-deprecatingly, and Sark can be really good at this time. He's like every human being, every man, I suppose. On some days, he can be touchy, right? And then some days he can be really self-deprecating, right? And he goes, well, maybe for myself, he joked at first, which, again, self-deprecating, right? Like, who was it for? He joked. Maybe it was just for me, which I thought was actually kind of vulnerable and honest. Like,
sure, I needed to rant. It wasn't directed at anybody. I needed to run my mouth for a second and get some steam out of the engine.
And again, like, even Desmond at that point could go, I get that, right?
Sure,
like, who doesn't understand? Yeah. So his quote, though, at the end of this, because he acknowledged, I didn't make it easy with my team. And it also didn't make it easy with guys, potentially coaches tampering with recruits or players or whatever else. Again, it was a really insightful 30 minutes of conversation. He said, quote, at the end of this, he said, quote, maybe for some of the pundits out there that don't cover me and cover our program on a regular basis so that they can understand that they can't just take their trash out and then have a thought, hey, I think Texas is going to have a job opening. I don't know. Think about something else when you're taking your trash out, end quote. Now, what's really interesting about that, Chad, is I made mention yesterday, like one of the things that was notable about, he referred to Desmond Howard and Deanna Rossini, for that matter, as Joe Blows.
Yes.
And my whole point was, this is still a topic of discussion because they're not Joe Blows. That Desmond Howard is a host of Game Day and has been for 3 decades. He's a former Heisman winner. He's a former Super Bowl MVP. Like, he is a guy that will go down in history as notable.
Yeah, and real quick, just to back you up there, one thing that didn't happen in that video when he was taking out the trash, I don't believe he said what his name was because he didn't have to. Right? Like, his face pops up and then he did what he did and we move on. Now you can see it because it's on his page, but I don't believe he said, "Hi, everybody. I'm Desmond Howard." I don't think he said that.
No, you're right. We started off the show. I'm Jeff Ketchum. He's Chad Hastings. And
we kind of need to do that, right? We need to keep reminding people who we are. Desmond Howard does not need to do that.
So I was like, look, one of the things by not saying Desmond's name or referring to him specifically is that it doesn't provoke Desmond from having to give a response. Because out here in these streets, if you say somebody's name, someone can go Marlo Stanfield real easy. My name is my name. Yeah. Right? At which point, what would Des do? Like, I don't know. And I thought, well, by not calling him out specific, there can be kind of an unofficial truce. And I thought we saw it between Sarkisian and Rossini. Sark got to kind of puff his chest out a little bit, but at the end of it, Rossini was able to say, he still didn't say he wasn't going to the NFL. Like, that's not what happened. He did not say that.
It never felt like he took an out-and-out shot at Rossini. This one feels like a little more of a shot.
Well, and he left it open-ended enough that if you were to call her out on it, she could say, well, look, you heard what he said. Did he say he wasn't going to the NFL? Is that what he said? He didn't. It's not what happened. And she was right, which is why when he made his comments yesterday on the SEC conference call, it was like, oh, wow, that is a level of emphaticness that we hadn't seen when he previously had addressed the previous reports. But he didn't say Dez's name, and I thought, okay, well, maybe Dez doesn't have to say anything. This does not say Desmond Howard's name, but like it's like there ain't no this is over on Desmond Howard's social right now. He's getting screenshots, maybe even of like Anwar's tweet sent directly to him. And so now it's like, does Desmond Howard respond? And I think the bigger question is, like, Game Day they have to address this. And if they don't, I think it's actually really, the thing is, and I always say this, Chad, this is really important with what I do, because I think sometimes there's a misconception about what a website like Orange Bloods, what we aspire to do. We want to report the news. We don't want to be the news. And Desmond Howard has made Game Day and himself news this week. That whole thing has dominated an entire week in a playoff level team who, like, they cover every week. So I don't know how you talk about, I don't even know how you predict Texas. You don't talk about the game all day, but then at the end you predict, like, can Desmond Howard pick a winner between Texas and Arkansas and not acknowledge on some level that he's part of the story?
Technically, they don't have to pick that game because of Arkansas. If they didn't want to, they don't have to pick that game. There's 3 ranked matchups this week. There's other games you could go to. They could stay away from it altogether.
They could.
Because we've been back and forth this week on they've got to deal with it. They don't have to deal with it. You and I always remind people, don't you dare think that a coach has to do something at a press conference. And don't you think that Game Day has to cover stuff. You brought up
I thought yesterday gave them an easy out. I think this today makes it harder to do that. And look, there'll be no repercussions for it. Sark will still go on Game Day the next time they ask him to. Look, he'll probably see Desmond Howard before the season's over somewhere.
Right.
He'll probably like hug it out, dab it out, joke about it, whatever.
Yeah. But plus, again, wrestling fan part of me, I just still don't know how much of this was a shoot, how much of it was a work. I do want a Falls Count Anywhere match at Game Day this week, Catch. with McAfee as the referee. That is what I want.
And look, I'm going to continue just my default. Anytime any of this stuff ever happens again, I'm going to say Jimmy Sexton's name, and I'm going to probably have like at least a 1 out of 4 chance of being correct. At least. Like,
you're right.
You know, he's the wizard of college footballs is Oz. So
yeah,
I can't ever just assume like he's never involved in any of this. And I do feel like with both the Rossini and the story from this week, that should just be a default for all of us moving forward. How could any of this stuff happen? Well,
yeah.
Just like if you have a Scott Boras client and you're like,
yeah,
how did that happen? Well,
have you
Scott Boras is his agent, and like, if it's like that scene, what is this scene where it's like from what movie where it's like you can't be surprised if whatever comes out of that is like an alien, you be ready for it.
Right. Okay. I don't know the movie.
I can't remember the movie either, but I'm referencing a movie that I can't remember exactly what happens. But it's like that. If you swing that door open and aliens with guns are on the other side, you got to be ready for aliens.
Right.
And I just think that moving forward, because it has been a little while since Jimmy Sexton has been in our lives.
Right. Well, and but the thing is, like you know, like you've referenced this week, and I think it was in the rumor mill, or I think it was, or some of your comments this week. I mean, he's always there, even when you don't know he's there. He's there. You got some really interesting quotes from sources about
like if the Joker's at your dinner party, and then like somebody robs the dinner party.
Right. Exactly. This is the movie reference I'll make. Have you ever seen the movie America's Sweethearts with Cusack and Catherine Zeta-Jones?
Yeah.
Billy Crystal's character. Think about Jimmy Sexton and Billy Crystal's character in that movie.
That's very obscure.
And I think it'll tell you everything you needed to know.
That's obscure.
Wait a minute. The representative allowed the picture. The representative leaked the. Yes. Yes. Billy Crystal, America's Sweethearts. You're welcome.
Well, and the other thing is, like, even if he's innocent, it's actually good for Jimmy Sexton. Just Jimmy Sexton gets to be the devil, right? Which some people call him that, right? So he gets to be blamed for everything. But if that just is the default answer, and you're more right than wrong, I think, then you can just go, oh.
Right.
It's just an agent trying to get his client more money.
And again, what was the key? Go watch the movie. Does the client know everything that the agent is doing? No, he doesn't.
Well, and look, and I did reference this today. And again, I don't know that Jimmy Sexton is to blame for anything that happened this week. I'm just saying he is the Joker in a room where some shit happens, and you're like, oh.
No doubt.
Gotta at least note for the record that the Joker is in the vicinity, is all I'm saying, right?
Yeah. Oh, there's no doubt.
And so I just don't know that we've done that enough in any of these stories, because it's really hard for me to believe that all of this stuff over the course of the last 5 weeks has happened, including Desmond Howard's at CAA, and that's his. What do we like? There's also it's also like, hey, isn't that guy in the Joker's crew?
Yeah,
isn't that a Joker Isn't that like a Joker card tattooed onto his arm? Like, shouldn't we?
Yeah, that's the other thing. One more wrestling reference, and I'll be done. This could be Andy Kaufman and Jerry Lawler. Look it up, kids. It could be. Who knows? Who knows? Wait, you mean everybody could be in on it? Maybe. I don't know.
I think that honestly, if you move forward with that attitude, this stuff will bother you less.
Exactly.
And I think that's the thing that Texas fans, they got to kind of look. Once upon a time, and you know what, the old heads, and I know a lot of you aren't watching. A lot of you old. Well, I don't know. Our demographics on YouTube are different than they are like on Orange Bloods. Orange Bloods would know this reference because we got a bunch of old people over there, and I'm one of them, right? I've been around for a long time. Back in the day, Tom Penders, who I love Tom Penders. I just do. I am who I am because Tom Penders is the first burnt orange thing that I ever liked.
Yeah,
I was a Baylor fan. I lived in Austin. I loved the running horns. That is like, look at where it led me, right? Like, so Tom Penders is like a gatekeeper to my entire life.
Mm-hmm.
But Tom used to do this annual thing where Tom was just always connected to other jobs.
No, not Tom Penders.
The infamous Rutgers decision that he had to make for himself was with,
that's what
would I go to Texas or would I leave Texas to go to Rutgers?
I was thinking Rhode Island. My bad. Didn't he actually end up at Rhode Island?
No,
Maybe that's
from Rhode Island. That's
from Rhode Island. That's why I'm mixing it up with the R words. Okay, I was thinking Rhode Island was the threat. You're right. Rutgers was the threat.
But like in the beginning, people would get upset about this. They'd be like, if Tom doesn't want to be here, Tom can just go. Like that was the attitude, right?
Yeah, New Jersey's beautiful.
But by the end of it, it was just like, oh, it's just Tom.
Yeah.
It's just something that happens with Tom. Like, or Tom's agent, or however it all kind of unfolds. By the time Tom actually left, it was kind of a running joke that every year he'd be connected to some job that he would not take, but probably try to leverage for a job raise, right? At some point, maybe as long as Texas has a coach hired by Jimmy Sexton, who's represented by Jimmy Sexton, we just need to, every time some stuff happens, go, hey, man, that guy runs with the Joker. And like sometimes that's just what's going to happen. And I promise it'll make everybody less crazy. It'll make everybody stop coming up with wild conspiracy theories. Just blame the agent. And you know what? Agents love that stuff because then they can go to their client and go, you know what? No matter whatever happens, who's taking the metaphorical bullets for you? Who's your human shield? I am Super Sexton. So it works actually for everybody.
That's it. If you can create that plausible deniability, that's genius work. All right, we'll get more from Ketch on what Sark had to say at the press event. Let's remind you of a couple things. If you want to come see us, we're giving you 2 opportunities to do it. Good news and bad news. Let me start with the bad news. We'll move forward. This is your only bad news today. They sold out because it's so damn good. Everybody went out and got the bottles. Deep Eddy Vodka thought and hoped that these bottles would last till January. Guess what? You guys bought them all out in 3 weeks. So hopefully, maybe, you never know, maybe espresso is maybe a 10th flavor. That's what I'm hoping for. But they did sell out. Thank you guys for going in and grabbing your bottles. But the good news is we're going out there, and I've heard they still have vodka at the Deep Eddy Vodka Tasting Room. 9 other flavors ready to roll for you. Plus, we're doing the show at 12, Q&A until 3, and Lord knows, if you've ever wanted to come ask Jeff Ketchum a question about Orange Bloods, the Longhorns, Steve Sarkisian, Jimmy Sexton, Desmond Howard, or whatever else you can think of, this is the week to do it. Come see us tomorrow at the Deep Eddy Vodka Tasting Room. We can't wait to see you there. And we can't wait for you to sit with us in front of this bad boy and watch Texas and Arkansas. TCH Social Austin, Saturday afternoon, 2:30 is kick, 183 and Anderson Mill. Come have some of these great specials, $3 jellyfish, $2 draft, $4 cocktail, and that great wing special. Also, I'm doing the pulled pork sandwich this week because they're playing Arkansas. Get it? Come see us at TCH Social Austin. We will have ourselves a good time as always. I don't see any super chats right now. Catch anything else? We dealt with a little bit of the kind of half the injury stuff. The other part of it would be Wingo as probable. Give me your sense on the Wingo story. Does that lead you to believe he's going to give it a go?
Oh yeah, I don't even think that's
no question.
Yeah, I'm not.
I
am personally not worried. Matter of I wouldn't be surprised if he's off the injury report by the time we get to game day.
Okay, yeah,
that would be my expectation.
When I saw probable, I thought the exact same thing. Anything else from the press event other than kind of him getting those feelings off of his chest? That's going to be the big theme. Anything else really happened for you?
Well, I thought it was interesting. I think probably gives you some perspective of where they are. Like that, he said they haven't talked about the college football rankings with his team.
Yeah, no reason to right now.
Yeah, I mean, and I think, I think that is it, an acknowledgement of how the season has changed a little bit. That if they win against Georgia and now they're 4th or 5th or wherever they would be in the rankings, right? With flipping with Georgia.
Or if it was close, if it held at 21-10, maybe it's different. Maybe they don't fall as far, but there is a sense out there. I disagree with this sense, but there's a sense out there that it's just over. And for somebody like Heather Dinich, who's in the room with the committee, they give her that kind of access. She's been definitive. She's listing Texas as out, just like Kentucky is out for her in the SEC. She's listed Texas as out of it. I disagree with her. I think there's a path to get. It's a weird path. I think it's there, but she's saying it's definite. So I know there's a lot of Longhorn fans already kind of putting it to the side.
Well, no, they got severely punished for a 25-point loss to Georgia. You are what you are. The game is what the game is.
Mm-hmm.
I think the whole 25-point margin of victory is a little unfair is not the right word, because what the hell in life is ever fair?
Mm-hmm.
I do think it skews the texture of that game a little bit, like if you just say the final score of the Vanderbilt game.
Sure.
Like, or the A&M Arkansas game, right? There's a number of games where I think the whole country watched that game, and I don't think you'd come away going, the whole country watched Texas Tech play BYU, and then the whole country watched Texas play Georgia. And I don't think when that was over with, the entire country went, that Texas Tech went over BYU exactly the same as Georgia beating Texas. It wasn't like that.
No.
And yet Texas was treated, I think, more hard. I think they were. They dropped 7 spots. BYU didn't drop but a 3 or 4 last week but the complications, as we talked about, of where Utah is, and they can't fall farther than Utah. And I thought what was really interesting about the rankings this week is that the committee was telling us Texas can fall behind Vanderbilt, and you wondered about that.
Yep.
And once the committee said yes to that, that screwed Texas. Because if you even moved Texas up a couple of spots, but just had them slotted, they didn't give Texas the Vanderbilt protection that oddly BYU had with Utah.
Right. They weren't that same kind of cushion.
It's not really consistent, but we knew that was possible every week coming in. It does make it really complicated. I thought the most interesting thing in the press conference was him talking about recruiting. And I will say, first and foremost, because I know Brian's going to join us here in just a second, and I want to get his thoughts on Dez right off the top. Like, what did he think of that?
Yeah,
given that he is a Desmond Howard, essentially, of sorts.
Absolutely. And there have been times where Brian will say on CBS something he's hearing about Texas, or he's done that before, and he's been asked to answer for it later. So,
well, and you and I have had this conversation before where I have been very protective of Brian.
Yeah.
And said, hey, because he is that guy. Yeah. Like, let's not have anything that ever happens on our show be what the Desmond Howard video was for Dez this week, right? Like, right. I never want Brian to be like, I can't do y'all show because that shit happened, right?
Right. Yeah.
So we've had conversations in the past where I've been like, hey, let's at least talk about it, right? He said, yes, this was an issue with schools tampering with our players or commitments, and that stood to reason. I thought it was really interesting, though, and I hadn't thought about it. I chuckled, though, when he said it. He brought up from a recruiting standpoint, and they have been at A&M's had a bunch of kids and a bunch of weekends, and they've had a bunch of big games that have had some buzz to them, and it is what it is. He's like, man, we've played one game since September at home. And he goes, And it was an 11 a.m. game the morning after Halloween. And when he said it, I just laughed because he's so right.
Yes, he is. And he gave the fans credit for showing up that day, but we could all understand how that might have been a different recruiting day.
I hadn't thought about it in the context of like what he would have wanted that day to, in best case, be. And 11 a.m. the day after. And look, he also brought up later, he didn't say it then, but it's hard for high school football players who don't live near Austin to get to a game at 11 o'clock for a myriad of reasons. But sometimes because after games on Friday nights, you have practice in the morning where you're watching film, you're stretching, you're lifting weights. Mm-hmm. Every program, every school's got a kind of a different Saturday morning routine. But sometimes you have to do so 11 a.m. is just horrible for recruiting.
Yep.
But I hadn't thought about the component of it's the morning after Halloween. Touche, right? Mm-hmm. So I thought, God, you know what? Things have been a little dead with 2027 kids. Texas hasn't really been in the recruiting buzz for a while, but they really haven't been able to have kids on campus really for 2 months. So I just thought that was interesting to him, like say, hey, guys, I'm not making excuses for anything. This is just the hand that we've been dealing with. I thought that was really interesting. And I actually was like in my head thinking that needs to be a separate, like that needs to be in the war room or something. And even though it's not like war, like the emphasis of like the implications of that, I think are really interesting. And then he mentioned that, look, the A&M game's not great for recruiting either for its own myriad of reasons, some of which are guys are still in the playoffs. It's right after Thanksgiving, all of that stuff. So he was saying this weekend, it's a big deal for us in recruiting. I thought it was interesting that we talked about the portal, that, you know, he made it, and I don't think it's as crystal clear as this, but he's like, when the season ends, we'll look at our roster. Like you would hope that these things are already done, honestly. Like the audit shouldn't begin after the season. It should be, you should kind of know what the audit looks like, even if it's not complete, but 2 weeks to go. But he made it sound like they'll do their due diligence and really have these conversations, sign their class, and then combine the roster and the recruiting class together and then say, how do we improve it? Where do we need help? How do we approach the portal? You know, it was a little bit of a peek. And I was just interesting to hear him verbalize, whether it's completely accurate or not, what it is that he's projecting from an expectation standpoint of what they need to do. And I think the most important thing is, and I really stressed this week, because all of this other stuff, Sarkisian and the staff are focused on Arkansas.
Yeah, they should be.
And like singularly, and I don't even mean the Desmond Howard stuff. I mean, we're having conversations about the portal. We're having conversations about guys that might leave. We're having conversations about, do they need a different kind of general manager or somebody that brings those type of skills in that can help you plan for money manage? Like we're having conversations about how much do you spend in the portal and how much do you spend in recruiting? And is it valuable to take a 5-star offensive line? You know what I mean? We're having these very nebulous recruiting questions that are so philosophical in nature that they apply to Texas, but maybe not to Texas A&M or to Texas Tech. Everybody's got different questions. And he's like, look, Saturday, Arkansas. And I'll sprinkle in, I have to, it's also a reminder of how complicated his job is, Chad. He just told us how important Saturday is from a recruiting standpoint, because it's the only time they're going to have a lot of these kids on campus all year long. And he's got to be the offensive coordinator that day. And he's got to be and he's got to coach the football team. And he's got media responsibilities. And it just, I don't think he meant for me to necessarily look at it through that prism, but like he's got to be on point as a recruiter on Saturday, because it'll be the only time some of these kids will have seen his face all season long. And just kind of one of those things that happens when you only play one home game between the end of September and now.
All right, Catch, I need you to prepare yourself. I have seen a preview shot of Brian Jones. It appears like, once again, he will be joining us from a prison in another dimension. We will do that after we hear from Specs. Oh, Lord, cross your fingers.
When fall's chill hits the air, raise a glass with cash to spare. Specs can fill those longer nights with fancy cheese and wine flights. Camp is set and the night is young? Grab a brewski, time for fun. Game day underway? Specs delivers. It's a great day. Picnic in the park, perfect pairing for the heart. Stock up and save on seasonal cheer, because when you shop at Specs, the fun starts here.
Here's to you, shout cheers to savings.
A reminder to go to the Co-op and grab the great gear that you see Brian wearing here, or you can search Real Snow Milk on universitycoop.com. I had brought Brian in and we were all set up, and now Brian's going to have to reconnect, apparently.
I was going to ask Brian if he wears white after Labor Day.
Oh, you know he doesn't get... Dude, he grew up in Lubbock. There's no way he goes by any rules like that.
Then let's ask him. Look, not every man wears white jeans.
Yes, no, it's a bold choice. It is a bold choice. He tries to pull it off. All right, I'm just watching. Brian's trying to get technically set up here. So
yeah, we're talking.
We have had adventures.
We know we're going to talk about the Desmond Howard stuff and everything else once he gets the video component of this fixed, and who knows, maybe we won't even have video. But I bet Brian Jones does not wear white after Labor Day. I bet he knows the rules. You know why?
All right.
Because Brian's been married to some fine-ass women.
Yes, he has.
And that means he knows the rule. Because at some point in his life, he's probably suggested to a good-looking woman that they should wear white after Labor Day. And they've been like, dude, you know what it is? And so then I think the seed gets planted. I think he's a media mogul who flies coast to coast and all over the world. He knows the rules. And whether he'll admit it or not, he's more worldly now than he is Lubbock area.
While Brian is trying to get his hookup set up, let me tell you about people that always get the hookup right, and that's AV Consultations.
What a segue!
Thank you. They could help Brian right now. 255-8678. I'm streaming the beginning of a Landman season. My daughter's coming home for Christmas and she's a Taylor Swift freak, and there's new Taylor Swift documentaries coming out. You want to make sure that you and your family are watching all that stuff in big, beautiful color on big screens, plus all the football that you deal with. So this holiday season, give that gift to the whole family so that next holidays, you got it all figured out. You got everything the way you need to, streaming, multiple screens, brand new TV. Let them handle everything. Let them handle what Brian's dealing with. Just trying to get hooked up. They'll get you hooked up. They've been doing it for people since 1988. 255-8678 or go to avconsultations.com. Be sure to tell them you heard about it here on OB Live when you give them a call. All right. I was hoping that it would give enough time for Brian, but Brian apparently is having some issues from space jail. Hang on. Let me see if we have anything from Brian. No. Yeah. I told him I sent the link. I got a "you damn right." And then I saw the spaced. It was the version where his head was disappearing.
Yeah, no, it was like he was in front of a green screen or something.
Right. He was in front of that weird brick wall thing where he was like putting up a virtual background that he didn't know he was putting up. It was
hey, so real quick, because I don't know how much time we'll have. I'm assuming we will get Brian, but then it might take us toward the end of the show.
Right.
Your thoughts, just, I've done a bunch of the talking today. Like your thoughts on just the most recent stuff that I mentioned well, that's funny.
Okay. There you go. See, for all the people that don't need to hear my answer, we're going to try it. Okay. Here we go. Let's give it a shot. Yeah, there he is. That's what I'm talking about. What's up, Brian Jones?
First of all, whoever came up with the "don't wear white after Labor Day," either they are in the fashion industry and they want you to purchase other shades, or they're dumb asses, because I wear white all the time. I love white. It's my favorite. I have more white pants in my closet than anything. I love white. Yes.
See,
I love it. No
you're
discrimination
sensitive about this because you love to wear white, and you probably
I heard it so much from the knuckleheads up in New York. You're not supposed to wear white after Labor Day. Fuck Labor Day. And whoever came up with that rule, man, you can wear white. I saw this lady the other day in Manhattan strutting down Fifth Avenue. It was off-white, cream, eggshell, but still, from head to toe. Wear your white.
Brian, I told Catch, because you were raised in, you grew up in Lubbock. I said nobody who grew up in Lubbock is going to care about white and Labor Day. Because if you do wear white after Labor Day in Lubbock, what happens? By 2 PM, it's dirty anyway because all that damn wind. It doesn't matter.
But I thought, Brian, that you've been associated with so many good-looking women in your life that they might have brought you over to the fashion side.
That ain't no fashion bullshit. The fashion industry came up with that so they could sell you more clothes after Labor Day. Put up them whites, and then you gotta go buy some, earth tones and all this other stuff, which I have, but give me white, baby. You're living in Florida year round, white, pastels. I love the highlighter colors.
Fair enough.
Be cool.
Look, highlighter. Look at
me, right?
This is a prototype. You see the Longhorns on there?
Yeah. I like it.
It's a prototype for what's to come. Be on the lookout.
The prototype,
baby.
It's coming, folks. He's wearing prototypes for you. All right, so we got to the bottom of that. Catch, get us started because I know where you want to go.
Well, Brian, Desmond Howard has been a discussed figure in these parts for the last few days. You are really interesting because I can probably put my hand up and say there are 5 guys in all of college football who are kind of like Desmond Howard, who are a former pro player, former college player, who's been a multi-decade lead analyst on a massive network. There aren't that many of you guys out there. It is a short roll call. So when a guy like Desmond Howard, who has your profile, right? He does what you do, and you kind of do that's what y'all do. Y'all are national analysts on massive shows. What did you think, or what do you think when a version of you is in a story like that? What'd you think?
First of all, I'm hiring you as my agent. My position at CBS or in this industry has never been conveyed and expressed in such a favorable manner, such as what you just.
No lies were told. No lies.
No. And it was said in such a way that I was like, damn, I'm pretty cool.
Who Catch talk? Oh, me?
Okay. Shit, Catch higher, baby. That's what I'm talking about. In the face. Listen, everyone, me and all my colleagues, we were all taken aback when we saw those comments. And first of all, what the hell are you doing with showing us the tennis ball? Who gives a fuck about your tennis ball? You need to stick that tennis ball in your trap, because I couldn't make heads or tails of what he was saying. And maybe he's onto something. Maybe something comes to fruition, but all the powers that be here have pushed back and said it's foolish and have no idea where this emanated. So he needs to share more information before anyone, I believe, can give an informed opinion on my side. Those who are involved and who were named notwithstanding, they've already done so. But yeah, I can't make heads or tails of that comment.
Have you ever been involved in a situation? Because this is one of the things I've tried to point out to people is that I don't think of Desmond Howard as, the guy that once a year he'll cut a social media video that is talking about someone changing jobs, and 70% of the time he's right. There's no history of this that I can point back to and say, oh, this is like that. Have you ever been involved in anything like this?
Oh, I'm always dropping myself in the grease, as Chad will tell you.
I was waiting.
Why you laughing, answer. Chad? Why you laughing?
I was going to try to give a real straight face if you'd have said no. No, I've never been. I was going.
A few times, he poked and prodded me into doing it, so I'm gonna blame him as well. Yeah, fault. Your fault, exactly.
But even Brian,
I have stubbed my toe a few times, but I have done it when I it wasn't. It may have sounded like it was out of left field, but it was the freaking truth. Because if you tell the truth, you don't have to remember anything, and I can't remember shit anyway. So, yeah, it may have been controversy to those who heard it, or it may have been said in a way that.
But I mean, like involving a coach changing jobs. That's different than like.
Oh, if you want to couch it as that, no, I've never done that. And we were having this conversation on set the other day because I have tons of sources and I'm privy to information around the nation with all these job openings, and I share it with my buddies on our text thread. My CBS guys, and they always say, "We don't need Pete Thelma. We got you." Like, no, man, I don't want to be that guy. I don't have to be first. I don't need to put that out in the ether. I'll share it amongst each other. I'll share it on my show if I hear some things, of course. But as far as trying to be first or being controversial just to be controversial, hell no, I don't need that. I catch enough smoke. Why I'm going to manufacture something?
Yeah. Brian, no matter how it was structured or created or how it rolled out, by the end of it, Steve Sarkisian was very emphatic about being at Texas, and he got fired up and he got to get some steam off. So now, what's your feeling on this team headed towards Arkansas after that happens in Athens? Whatever you thought of 35-10, and now
tell you what I thought.
And now you're about to face Arkansas. I can guess
it was a stinking pile of excrement.
I can guess what you thought. What's your thought process of kind of where this team is right now?
I think we're an above average team. That's it. And that's nothing wrong with that. It is what we are. And that's what the performance you put on the field says you are. I was shocked. I was perplexed. And I was angry watching a team coming off a bye play non-physical in the matter, especially on the offensive line. It was as if they were scared to hit these guys because we might piss them off. Well, you're supposed to piss them off, and then you're supposed to get more pissed off after they get pissed off. And hopefully that makes sense. But I'm sitting there watching this, and there's a term offensive line coaches would use that I can't use here because it references a certain body part and not of the male persuasion. It was soft football again. And I don't understand this late in the season coming off of hold it together, catch.
I just love to add in deep, just in case we were unsure.
Just in case. Yeah.
Not everybody on here has been privy
just
to
in case,
old school football.
Yeah.
Not everybody's up on the Junction Boys and all that. I'm just saying. I just went back to my upbringing, and if you said that shit today, some of these kids would crumble. Anyway, shock coming off a bye. Shock this late in the season that that game wasn't played with more force from the offensive line. And listen, we don't have a quarterback problem anymore. Our quarterback is fine. Yeah, there are one or two throws that sell. Anyway, he's fine. He's played his ass off here of late. He looks as though he's more comfortable. He's climbing the pocket. He's getting out of harm's way, getting the ball to check down. He's been flawless and marvelous. I don't understand these freaking receivers dropping all these passes, man. They're right there. I mean, he was throwing some dimes right in tight windows, and these cats, they can't pull the rock in, and they're supposed to be these big-time 5-star guys, and they're playing – hell, they're not even playing like 2 stars, in my opinion. So a lot of blame to go around, tackling in the secondary. And I said last week, what did I tell you my biggest issue was going to be covering these receivers, covering these tight ends. You got busts on the back end and safeties diving for ankles, safeties looking inside, not staying outside when you're the force. So it was a calamity, collective, stinking pile of excrement. That's what it was. Yeah. And as far as this week, we know it's a rivalry. It's been a while since Arkansas. I think the last time Arkansas was here was when Mac Brown, right? Was it Matt Jones? The Matt Jones game that shocked all of us that Saturday. I'm a sideline reporter.
I think they had a game like 7 or 8 years ago that got postponed, and then it was going to be on the schedule. And then, I think Arkansas owed Texas a home game.
Because we've gone there back to back. We went there a couple years ago when they beat us, and then we went back last year, of course.
The 2021 game was a non-conference game, and it was the first of a home and home. I think the one with the Austin version was going to be played earlier, and I think they kicked it back for whatever reason, and then it got canceled because
So I was right. They haven't been here since Matt
Yep.
Young.
Yeah.
That's all you had to say, motherfucker.
they haven't been. Brian was
I'm
right.
playing.
Is right.
Hey, Catch, I'm on one today. Don't mess with me. I'm playing.
No,
I'm
hey,
sorry.
I'm your agent. Remember?
I'm sorry, kiddos.
This is what makes him one of the top 5. 5, not 10. 5. You don't even need 5 fingers.
Yeah.
There ain't but a couple of Brian
Smoking
Joneses
that top
in the
5.
world.
Yes.
Only the top 5 answers questions with, that's all you had to say, motherfucker.
That's all you had to say. You sending the wolf? Shit. Chill them motherfuckers out. The wolf will be here directly. Here we go. All right, we about to go down the movie rabbit hole.
No. I have not lost my train of thought, despite the fact that I may have taken a hit like 10 minutes ago. I'm just, from your perspective, Sark is going to be there's 2 games in the next 9 days, 8 days. They're kind of big games. I mean, it's Arkansas and A&M. But then there's also this idea of like, look, this season is what it is. They're an above average team. How do you get to get beyond that next season, take advantage of the pieces that they have, Arch, Colin Simmons, etc. Where's your brain at the most? Just as a fan of this team, are you more thinking now that it's 7-3? Are you thinking about 2 months from now, or are you thinking about 8 days from now?
No, I'm staying in the moment. I'm thinking about this weekend. This is a special game. If you know the history of Texas football, this is special. And the next one, of course, after that, everyone's well aware of what that one entails. So Arkansas, we hate them. They hate us. So treat it as such. And coming off such a lackluster performance, you love to have teed up for the next opponent a rival or a big-time opponent, a well-ranked, well-stocked opponent. So there should be no sulking of any sort, because of Arkansas is a bad football team, but that Taylor Green, man, is hit or miss. He can torch you. I mean, he's got 7 touchdown runs of 50-plus yards, so you better contain him. But he's thrown 10 or 12 interceptions, and that's his Achilles heels, these turnovers for him. So it's feast or famine. But when he famines, it's Katie bar the door. Because it's
when he famines.
Or when he feasts, I should say. My bad. Damn.
Either way. No, both. You're right.
Yeah. Smoking that top 5, I have you tripping. Listen, they've got – I heard Sark talking about this football team. Yeah, there's 1 or 2 pieces, and they've overhauled the defensive staff. Coach Hayes is over there now, who we know. And, of course, Petrino, he's the main reason you've seen an improvement in Taylor Green's game, who started out at Boise State. And back then, we were saying he's a poor man BY. And he's gotten better over the last 2 years under the tutelage of Bobby Petrino. But yeah, it should be a game. This is above average team, Texas, and still being above average, they should wax Arkansas. But Arkansas is going to get up for a rivalry. Arkansas, minus some mistakes, shit, they would have been, they would have won the last 2 or 3 games. So, and A&M, you guys saw it, how well Taylor Green played in that. And I'm thinking, this guy, Taylor Green, is going to give this defense fits. They still got their TFLs. I think they only had like 2 sacks, did A&M versus him, though. But that was what, 40-something, wasn't it?
45-42. Arkansas scored late to cut it to 45-42. Yeah. They did not let the Aggies get out of there easy.
Right. There it is. And speaking of your Aggies, dude, what a hell of a comeback, man. That was phenomenal last week. History making, of course. And that was crazy. I mean, 30-3 at one point. It was like, wow. And which South Carolina team shows up? The good one showed up in the first half, the bad one in the second half. But give all the credit to you guys, pitching the shutout on defense. And Marcel Reed, I was watching that tape. Like, my man in the second half throwing some darts. it was beautiful. Even though I hate y'all, it was beautiful to see some good football there in the second half, and hopefully that DPS trooper got his ass fired.
Yeah, he certainly got dismissed immediately. He got dismissed from the stadium. I never heard if he got fired.
There's been no update on that this week.
Yeah, he's gonna keep his job.
That was so Brian, you know
what was it? Michael Jackson said, "Want to be starting some." He was looking to be starting some.
Yeah,
throwing that chicken wing out there.
Brian, the thing that was most impressive about that sequence to me was Harbor. I believe that's his last name, the talented, freaky receiver from South Carolina. He gets to the back of the end zone. He is experiencing the hammy. You could tell he tweaked his hammy. The yell leader reaches out and swatted the ball away from him, which was so Bush League. And they should have thrown that yell leader out of the game. Then he gets that from a state trooper and stays calm and goes right to the trainer and tells him that the hammy was bugging him as he's walking back. That kid showed nothing but class through that whole deal.
Wow, I didn't notice the yell leader. I'm gonna have to go back and watch that. So White Pants wanted some, huh?
It was so sad.
Suit up. Tell him to suit up.
Yeah, it was just one of those things of he turned into an 8-year-old. Just reached out, swatted the. Remember, was he one? He was your guy at the time, so you'll remember this, Brian. Remember the A-Rod slap? Remember when A-Rod slapped the ball? I know you might have more trouble remembering because you're a Yankees. No,
I remember it.
You remember, right?
Bush League versus Boston.
It had that feel to it. It had that kind of Bush League feel. So, Brian, let me tie together the game y'all are going to deal with on CBS. The big-time game is USC at Oregon. It's a monster. Give me the Texas perspective here. If I make the argument to you that assuming Texas can get on a run, they need some teams out of the way, my argument would be let Oregon beat USC and give them a third loss, and then they're out of the way. Do you think that's what would be best for Texas?
That's interesting. I haven't concentrated on how Texas now could get back into this tournament. If they had lost in a more competitive manner, I think they'd still be in it for sure. Right. If they could go 2-0 in these last two, of course. Right now, they are way on the outside looking in. And yes, it would help if you have less. I think either one of these teams losing can help, because the fewer 10-2 teams you have sitting there in the way, the better for a team with 3 losses, of course. Because Oregon with 2 losses is not going to have a beautiful resume. No, they haven't defeated anyone ranked, I don't believe, other than Iowa, but Iowa's not ranked anymore because USC just knocked them off. USC, this is going to be a hell of a football game, I believe. USC, top passing offense in the Big Ten. Oregon is the #1 pass defense in the nation. Only giving up like 127 yards. And the only team this year to pass for over 200 plus was Indiana when they knocked them off there at home. If USC can hold up against the Oregon pressure, which is going to be suspect, that protection for USC with those receivers, oh my goodness. You watch that, man, you get a warm feeling down your leg. Them cats, Makai Lemon, Jacoby Lane, you talk about getting the ball in some spots where Clark Kellogg, our hoops colleague, would say he got traffic jam game. He can maneuver in tight spots. Mm-hmm. That's what these two dudes do, man. You talk bodying up. You can tell they played basketball at some point. So if Maava can get some protection, he can get the ball to those guys, and I think they could win versus his secondary, but that protection is going to be questionable. They're running the ball better with King Miller, but it's going to come down to their defense. And I praised them after the Michigan win, held Michigan like 109 yards, which was damn respectable for USC. But since then, Notre Dame over 300, everybody else, I think it was 198, 170 something, and 160 plus last week for Iowa. So it's going to come down, can their defense stop that running game for Oregon, because they are nice. They got a 3-headed monster. And they stay fresh and they come after you.
And real quick before you jump in, Catch, just to clarify, Oregon would still have to get credit from the committee for winning at Penn State, right? Penn State was like 3 or 4 that night. Do you still give them credit for that?
Man, that game has lost so much luster. Hell no.
Right?
No. Okay. They lost, 5 or 6 straight? 6 straight after that? No. You don't.
So it's kind of like it's like if you beat Florida this year, or if you beat LSU this year, or whatever, on the backside, if it goes wrong, right?
That's what's really hurting Texas too. And even though they were in the top 10 last week, what was able to supersede that loss, because that's an inexcusable loss in the swamp, was the top 10 wins versus OU and Vanderbilt. And now to go and look so non-competitive versus Georgia, you got a steep hill that you're going to be battling on. But yeah, Oregon, the resume is not sexy, but they have brand cachet now. This isn't the Oregon Ducks of way back when, of your grandpappy. They have that cachet. Speaking of that, Notre Dame, look at them. They're ahead of the team that beat them, Miami. And yet,
by like 4 spots.
Right. And it's because of that brand name. That still carries a ton of weight. And that possibly could get Texas, if they are to go 2-0 in these next two, that could possibly get them into the dance. Possibly because of the blue blood status.
Yeah, sure.
My last question.
Uh-oh.
What are you already laughing?
I know that look.
Have you seen the movie A Time to Kill?
Oh, come on, dude.
Okay.
Really?
Just making sure. Just making sure. Because I'm going to go Jake Bergantz on you here, okay?
Okay. Come on, Jake.
I want you to close your eyes. I want you to imagine that you're with your text group of friends from CBS. Can you see it? Can you imagine it? There's white people. There's black people. There's all kinds of people. Can you see it? You're texting them. You're talking to them. Oh, people are laughing. Oh, can you see it? Can you see it, Brian? Can you see it? Now, imagine that this show is your text message. Say some shit that you've said in the text message chain this week that's going to get you in trouble.
Oh, come on.
I was in the courtroom, baby. Now imagine she's white.
Exactly.
Oh, I love the judge in that movie is Longshanks from what's his
Robin
name?
Hood?
William Wallace. Wallace movie.
Yeah.
Braveheart. That's Longshanks, man.
Yeah, it is. I hadn't put that connection together.
Neither
You're right.
have I.
You're right. A Time to Kill.
I love me some Longshanks. When he throws old boy out the window, come on. Who was this that advises me? He throws his ass out the window. That shit is so funny to me.
You know what? Nobody gave him lip again the rest of his life. The word got out. You know, he threw a motherfucker off the tower for some shit. He's saying some shit.
He's qualified in the military arts.
Brian,
threw his ass out the window.
Brian,
yes.
I was gonna say real quick, unless you have a comment for Kevin.
I do.
Go ahead.
No, I mean something I've said. Oh wow, there was what was it? Oh, it was prior to the Oregon Iowa game, and they have this backer named Bryce Betcher. The Astros drafted him. Their middle backer, 28. The Astros drafted him. He's a hell of a center fielder, apparently. But he former walk-on. He won that Burlsworth Award last year. Walk-on starter, now scholarship, of course. Anyway, he's a box backer. You know, it's not one of those guys you're going to want to have in coverage. So when they were getting ready to play Iowa, and we know what type of offense you're facing there, we were texting, and I said, man, after watching the film, I was like, man, this is going to be a box backer banger. And I texted our producer who's on the thread. I said, man, box backer banger. We need to turn that into a segment or a porno.
I was going to say.
The old box backer banger.
Yeah. Hey, you know what that reminds me of, Brian? I don't know if you've ever knew this, but back in the day, there was a football player. I think he's still alive, so I don't mean to talk about him like he might be dead. Reggie Tongue. You remember that guy who played safety? He went to Oregon State.
Yes. I remember the name. Yes.
Played
Reggie
for the
Tongue.
Packers for a little while.
Here it is.
Reggie Tongue's a Beaver. Reggie Tongue played football at Oregon State.
He just told you
Reggie Tongue's a Beaver.
Oh, Tongues.
Come on, Brian. Catch up, man. Well, come on now. You just did the box banger, and you're not following it. Come on.
You're doing the box banger, but whatever that was, and you can't keep up with Reggie Tongue's a Beaver?
I can now.
Y'all,
What you doing, girl?
hey, y'all remember that show where they went from box backer banger to the tongue and beaver? Remember that?
I can't help it that guy went to Oregon State.
Y'all gonna win an Emmy or whatever you win for podcast or streaming show. What you win? You're gonna win a Marconi.
They call that the Tongue and Beaver Award, I believe, is the award that we get from that. Kat, do you have anything else for the great Brian Jones?
No, just get us in trouble.
Yeah, it probably would.
You ain't lying.
The big time CBS game is USC Oregon. I think Brian's got an argument. Texas, depending on what happens, could benefit from either of these teams losing. So just watch it and enjoy it. And it's on
Texas
at 2:30.
Business. I mean, you got to depend on others. That's the worst position position to be in when your destiny's in other folks' hands. But you got 2 hell of a games. Take care of biz.
Yep, Texas got to take care of those hogs, and USC and Oregon will be on at 2:30, and we'll have it on at TCH Social Austin on one of ththose screens. So come on out and check.
When are we talking again? Next week is Thanksgiving. We're going Wednesday.
Good question.
Next week is Thanksgiving. Could you do Wednesday? We're gonna do Wednesday and Friday next week, right, Catch?
I ain't doing Friday. I'm working. Yes. We got games Friday and Saturday.
So Wednesday, do you want to try Wednesday? Could you
Let's
do it?
Try Wednesday, homie.
Oh, look at that. He's adjusting schedules live during his show. Look at that. And he's doing the old school. Hooray. Hurrah. Hey, ha.
Oh, I just lost all my street cred.
Hold on. Just in case this is for you, Brian, does beating an undefeated A&M make up for missing the playoffs?
Hell yeah. No. Yes. No, yes. Yes, no. Beating them. Fuck, that's a tough question. No, it doesn't make up for it, but it gives you a much, much better feeling about the season. Let's just say that. No, you want to be in the dance. And so, I mean, you look at Ohio State, they lost to their rival last year. They ended up winning the whole damn thing. And there's a chance they might lose to them again.
Yeah, I was going to say that one to a Buckeye fan. You'll get your answer on that one. ATX Bates, we appreciate you. A reminder, go to universitycoop.com, search Real Snow Milk for that great gear, or just go to the co-op yourself at the drag and check it out. And apparently Brian's got some stuff coming there. He's testing stuff out on the show. You never know. Brian, we always appreciate. Horns up, give it to him, and we'll talk to you next week.
No, I'm talking about the gear. Horns up.
Oh, yeah?
It makes you look like an orange cow.
Moo, motherfucker. Hook 'em.
That should be a radio. That should be a drop is what that should be.
Moo motherfucker. Only Brian could make moo motherfucker sound like a really cool...
Somebody said that I was playing cards with Hijack Poker in the chat because I keep looking like someone's like, answer the question. I don't know what question I'm supposed to answer. Like, I don't know what is happening in the chat.
No. I think they were saying Brian needed to answer your question, which he eventually did.
Oh.
That's what I saw. I saw an answer Catch's question. Answer that. I think they meant answer your question, and they were trying to do all caps, and they organize words and all that kind of good stuff. Thanks to Brian for joining us. One more of our great partners.
Real quick, what I was just going to say, what people don't respect enough, don't understand.
Okay.
Is that like now, right this second, I'm looking like straight at a camera. And that's like the best angle for me to do the show.
Mm-hmm. But
if I actually want to see you, I have to do this.
Right.
And if I want to see him, I have to do this. And if there's anything that I want to do, like my head's looking so it's not a bad guess that I would be playing hijack poker. Touche. But all I'm saying is I respect Brian Jones. I wasn't like, either I'm looking like, it's just weird. Do I just stare at the camera or do I follow where my eyes want to go? And so it just looks like I'm playing poker. Sorry.
I think in general, at least for me, watching the other parts of the show, I think it would be weird if somebody did the entire show totally engaged just with the camera. I think it would be a little odd. I think our eyes just kind of have to naturally go where they go.
Truman Show. It's like,
yeah, right. Exactly. That's a good movie too. That's one of my favorite Jim Carreys. Before we get out of here, let me tell you about Taste on Main. This is the steakhouse from the people that bring you Hayes City Store. They've got a great brunch Saturday, Sunday, 10 to 3. That might be something to check out this weekend. They only serve East Coast oysters, and man, the steaks are great. Check out the Oscar-style steak. If you love steak and seafood, that's a steak made perfectly, and then they've got the crab meat like on top of it. It's just fantastic. The drinks are great. Try the Sam Elliott's mustache. And if it's still set up the same way, I've not been in a few weeks, but there's a picture of Sam Elliott, like I think from Lebowski at the end of one of their bars. So you'll get a good atmosphere there. They've got the Treehouse Bar outside. It's just an awesome place to hang out. Free parking just right across the street in downtown Buda. So you don't have to worry about that. And then you can walk around Buda when you're done. It's a good time right there on Main Street in Buda. Tell them we sent you here at Orange Bloods Live. When you go to Taste on Main, I'm getting hungry just thinking about it. All right, let me just scan, make sure we didn't miss a super chat. We got ATX Bates' super chat about the Aggie game, and I think that was all the cleanup we needed. Anything else today, Catch?
No, man. I'm all right.
All right, thanks.
I'm good. You're good. Let's be good. Let's get
Thanks
out of here. Let's go enjoy the rest of the day.
Thanks as always to Brian Jones. Again, CBS Sports gets one of those 3 ranked matchups, USC and Oregon, the 2:30 CBS game. We'll be back tomorrow for that special Friday show. Again, we are going out to the Deep Eddy Vodka Tasting Room tomorrow for the show. We'll go Q&A until the questions run out, or till 3, whichever one, or till Catch just gets tired of y'all's questions and runs out screaming. Whatever comes first, that's what we will do.
That's a lot of pressure on me, by the way.
No, that is a little pressure too. You could ask me questions too, but I'm just realistic enough to know that y'all are probably not showing up in Dripping Springs to ask me questions. Y'all want to ask this guy questions. That's what you want to do. I can, answer. I'll be sipping on some vodka and answering questions. You never know. I'll get some truth serum going tomorrow if you need to. We'll have a good time tomorrow. We'll have Scottish guys part of the show before Texas plays Arkansas. So check out the show, but please come see us out in Dripping Springs. Y'all take care. Enjoy the rest of your Thursday.